Welcome to the Headlines. I'm Wendy Chen. Thank you for joining us. Coming up in the show today, Tzu Chi volunteers in Indonesia are helping victims of a recent earthquake by handing out rice and clothes. In our continuing series on weather conditions, we find out why typhoons are a threat to Taiwan and how weather predictions is more of a warning than forecast. And we meet the master of inkstone engraving, Dong Zhuo, in Changhua County, who can carve almost anything on inkstones. On September 9th, Indonesia's Java was struck by a 4.8 magnitude earthquake, which destroyed over 400 houses in the Bogor Regency. There were also nearly 500 houses damaged in the Sukabumi Regency. In the aftermath of the earthquake, at the request of the local government, Tzu Chi volunteers went to survey the disaster area and distributed rice and clothes to the quake victims.
Kabupaten town of Sukabumi Regency is over 60 kilometers away from the epicenter, Bogor Regency, but 467 houses collapsed in the area. 6 villages were declared disaster areas by the local authorities.
The town is quite a long way from the metropolitan area, so the government barely noticed, much less set up a disaster relief center.
The Sukabumi Regency is 150 kilometers south of Jakarta, and it takes a half-day drive to get there. But the volunteers still manage to conduct disaster surveys and distribute aid supplies.
The quake victims are happy to see us here, as we are the first NGO to come to help.
Yang belum ada yang bantu sini.
Dengan bantuan ini, saya sangat berterima kasih sekali.
Thank you to Tzu Chi Foundation for the aid supplies. Tzu Chi cares about the public, especially disaster victims.
Yang tertimpa bencana ataupun musibah.
With the assistance of the local ministry, the distribution runs smoothly. Every household receives 20 kilograms of rice and clean clothes. The volunteers also provide 80 kerosene stoves. A total of 498 families received Tzu Chi's help.
Dan meringankan penderitaan
Tzu Chi's love and care can relieve the stress of victims. Their assistance is what the victims need. We hope the good deeds they do will someday come back to them.
In the United States, New Jersey Tzu Chi chapter has set up a food bank in their local community. Recently, Tzu Chi volunteers held a banquet on September 10th to celebrate the 2nd anniversary of the program. When Tzu Chi volunteers first started, only 2 families came to pick up the food parcel, but now the number has increased to 80.
This 2-layer birthday cake marks the 2nd anniversary of the food bank held by New Jersey's Tzu Chi chapter. Tzu Chi volunteers and 80 low-income households join in the celebration.
This particular food bank is fantastic. It's the best one. The food is freshest. The people here are all very nice.
It just filled with air, and the love is so much that it's like the love just bursts out of the balloon.
Tzu Chi is the first NGO to set up a vegetarian food bank in New Jersey. Although in the first week, only 2 households came to pick up foods, the volunteers were not discouraged. Instead, they kept up their effort to provide the freshest vegetables and fruits for the residents. They even introduced electronic measurement to ensure every family received what they needed.
They can find inner peace here, not just food for the mouth, but food for the heart.
I don't have family outside, but in here I feel wonderful.
The food bank is just like a grand kitchen in local communities. Besides the Tzu Chi volunteers, more and more local residents also joined in.
And I felt part of the group right away. Everyone was treating me with open arms.
Social workers also underlined Tzu Chi's contribution.
And we're just blessed that we're all able to do the work that we do so that people who need us know that there's somebody to help them.
We hope there will be more and more Tzu Chi volunteers and volunteers in the community to join the food bank.
The food bank not only stores food, but also love and care, which are the most precious gifts to the residents.
Every year, Tzu Chi College of Technology hands out scholarships to its needy students. Tzu Cheng fathers and Yide mothers also visit these students at home to find out more about their learning environment. The door-to-door visits not only ensures the students stay on the right track, but their family members also get to know Tzu Chi as well.
In Taiwan's Hualien, these Yide mothers are visiting the homes of 15 families of students who attend Tzu Chi College of Technology. Every year, Tzu Chi Technology will hand out scholarships to those students who need it to continue their education and follow up with home visits. At each visit, the parents are always eager to share how their child has improved. He knows that when I'm busy, he'll help me out doing things, or when his dad returns home from work, he will bring his father a change of clothes or run a bath for him. He would also share with us what he learned from Master Zheng Yuan. From Hualien City to Yulin Township, these Yide mothers care for each and every student. Home visits is to see if the students are really studying or if they have become lazier or are trying harder. In these 4 years, we have always been with them. Never absent from the children's lives, always caring. These are the roles Tzu Cheng fathers and Yide mothers plays.
In China's Xiamen, a teachers' seminar was held on September 16th with members of Tzu Chi Teachers Association from Taiwan as guest speakers. Over 130 Chinese teachers from different regions participated and were all much inspired by the experience.
I look forward to teachers using wisdom and compassion to influence students, to using benevolence to solve problems. To manage a classroom and operate a classroom means similar things, but to a student, their meanings are vastly different. 136 teachers from Fuzhou, Fuding, Quanzhou, Zhangzhou, and Xiamen all gathered at Xiamen's Wuyuan Service Center to exchange ideas on teaching.
The biggest change I see in regards to disciplining students or criticisms towards me is that I used to just fly off the handle, and now, as the Jinsi aphorism says, getting angry is actually punishing ourselves for the mistakes of others. So now I will calmly approach situation in order to influence the students.
She knows that stories are the best teaching method, but somehow Xu Shanshan just isn't doing it right. I will test the methods the lecturer mentioned and see which one works best for my pupils and use that to teach my students from now on.
Education is about learning from others, for teachers and students alike. When teachers have the confidence and the materials to teach, they can guide students along the right path.
According to estimates, each year Taiwan suffers losses of approximately $6.8 million from natural disasters, of which over 80% are from typhoons. When a typhoon is forming in the seas off Taiwan, the Central Weather Bureau gathers the data necessary to predict the storm's path, rainfall and wind speed and force. However, weather conditions can change in an instant, and meteorological technology is limited. As a result, there exists a margin of error, and many question the accuracy of CWB's predictions. In fact, weather predictions are intended more as forewarnings than forecasts. A typhoon is a monster. Great trees bow down before it, begging for mercy. Rain racks the earth like bullets, causing landslides that can bury entire villages.
Monsters stalking the face of the earth. That is how many in Taiwan view typhoons.
Every year, Taiwan suffers losses of approximately $6.8 million from natural disasters, 80 to 90% of which are caused by typhoons.
Typhoons not only threaten lives and property, they also dig into pocketbooks. This is most reflected clearly in the prices of vegetables, which rises steeply after a big storm. But whether or not typhoons actually strike Taiwan, many still question the Central Weather Bureau's predictions.
It's the sample weather bureaus all over the world. We have only a few hours' notice to issue heavy rainfall warnings. Many say the time is too short. They would like a highly accurate prediction several days in advance.
Weather forecasts are often uncertain. Nevertheless, forecasters employ a variety of methods to predict the weather. For example, historical records show that over the last 100 years, typhoons have taken 9 major paths of approach to Taiwan. Forecasters consult past records and try to find similarities with current typhoon phenomena. One of the most common methods is numerical prediction, which uses physics equations and supercomputer analysis to map out probable weather patterns.
Here's a numerical model. When a typhoon is taking shape, we can consult this model approximately 7 days in advance to predict how the storm will affect Taiwan.
As a typhoon takes shape, incoming data is incorporated into the Bureau's calculations, and earlier predictions on the storm's probable path are revised.
When the typhoon reaches a certain level of strength, the eye of the storm is clearly visible. When the eye appears, it's generally at minimum a medium-strength typhoon.
Although Taiwan is surrounded by ocean, there is a lack of data from the ocean's surface, and there's also a gap between satellite observations and actual weather conditions. In order to correct inaccurate predictions, researchers consult ensemble reports, including error values in their new calculations.
By comparing various reports, forecasters can predict that the typhoon will land in Hualien, for example, and that its area will extend from to Taidong and Yilan.
Weather bureaus in different countries obtain different observation data. As a result, forecasts predicting typhoon paths often vary. When Typhoon Fenghuang struck Taiwan in July of 2008, the Central Weather Bureau's forecasts were more accurate than the U.S. military and Japanese Weather Bureau predictions. World typhoon forecasts have a margin error of 160 to 180 kilometers, approximately the distance from Taipei to Taichung. Taiwan's Central Weather Bureau has now reduced its margin of error to 110 kilometers, a level of accuracy that surpasses other advanced nations.
A sniper using a high-power rifle can hit a target from a great distance, but no matter how great the marksman or how good the gun, he will never hit the target every time because there are always other factors at play.
Don't discount experts' dedication. Forecasts are based on a principle of probability, and there's always the possibility of error. It's not easy to outguess Mother Nature.
In our series of feature reports on Taiwan's fading industries, today we meet Dong Zhuo from Changhua County, who is known for the beautiful and creative inkstones he makes. With over 40 years of experience, the artist can carve almost anything on the inkstones. Despite the decline of the industry, Dong and his 2 sons are devoted to making these tools, which are nowadays viewed as artworks. After the passing of a typhoon, Dong Zhuo sets out on a mission.
After the flooding and when the water recedes, the sandbank on Zhuoshui River is wider, so the chances of finding inkstones will be higher.
On the lower part of the Zhuoshui riverbank, there are numerous stones.
There may be over 1,000 varieties of stones in this river, but among them, only the Luoxi stone is suitable for inkstone engraving.
Dong Zhuo carefully picks out the stones he's searching for.
The Luoxi stone may appear black on the outside, but when we scrape it, it comes out in a white color, and the stone can easily be carved.
The Zuosui is the longest river in Taiwan, and one can find quality ink stones here, which is known as Luoxi stones.
Luoxi stone come in ink black, dark red, and green. These are the three main colors.
Dong Zhuo puts the selected ink stones into a sack and carries the nearly 100-kilo bag on his shoulder.
If the quality of the stone is really good, regardless of how heavy it is, we will do our best to take it away.
Here, right outside Dong Zhuo's workshop, one can see thousands of ink stones, which the artist has collected and carefully examined.
This one is quite suitable for engraving the shape of a lotus leaf, and it is also green.
Dong carves each stone differently according to its shape and texture. Dong Zhuo began learning the crafts from his father when he was little, and today, with over 4 decades of experience, he's also known for the creative three-dimensional artworks he designs.
The green section is where we will engrave the shape of a lotus leaf, and we can use claret colored stone to make the lotus flower.
Whether it is 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional, nothing is too difficult for the artisan. Dong Zhuo's artworks include engravings of pine trees, cranes, a bridge and running water, proving that ink stones are not just a tool, but also an astonishing art form. Looking closely at this 250-kilo ink stone, one discovers 100 dragons. It took Dong Zhuo 23 months to complete.
It feels like giving birth to a child. I thought I would give it a try to see if I had the patience and skill to engrave this work. It also helped me to stay calm.
Both of Dong's sons returned to Changhua after graduating from university to help their father with the family business.
Since I was little, I have always watched my grandpa carving artworks, and when I was about 5 or 6, I sometimes helped rinse the ink stone. When you are making these ink slabs, it needs to come from the heart.
Though the inkstone industry has slowly faded, the father and his sons are determined to preserve the culture.
The culture of inkstone went from being practical to being considered as art. I think it is something that connects people to each other.
Dong has turned his house into an inkstone art museum, giving members of the public a chance to appreciate the artworks. Today, the family is sharing their passion through Chinese calligraphy.
I'm using my husband's ink slab, and my son is helping me grind the ink, so the writing will turn out great. We are a very literate family.
These inkstones are the best heirloom for the Dong family, and they vow to continue sharing the beauty of these artworks made in Taiwan. In just a few more days, we will celebrate the Moon Festival. At Darling Tzu Chi Hospital, employees are making moon cakes to express thanks to Tzu Chi's medical volunteers. The cakes are not only an expression of goodwill, they're also good for their health. With no unsaturated fat, these moon cakes will make a happy and healthy autumn holiday.
Filling is first wrapped in dough crust, and then the cakes are shaped into round moons. After that, they're ready for the oven.
The Moon Festival is an important traditional holiday for Chinese people all over the world. Mooncakes are a symbol of reunion with family and friends. That's why we are making them for our colleagues and volunteers.
A lot of thought and ingenuity has gone into the mooncakes. The dough crust is made with clarified butter so that it contains no trans fat, and the low-fat, low-sugar fillings comes in 3 flavors.
Plums are alkaline, so the plum filling can help to balance our pH values. Dried radish, a local favorite, contains a lot of fiber, so it's also a good healthy filling.
The different types of fillings represent the different roles played by Tzu Chi colleagues and volunteers, and each mooncake is an embodiment of Tzu Chi's love and good wish for a happy, healthy moon festival.
Staying in Taiwan but moving to Penghu, on September 23rd, Tzu Chi volunteers arrived at the homes of care recipients with blessings, food and even new clothes. Since the Mid-Autumn Festival is a day when families reunite, the volunteers hope that the new clothes will help the senior residents to celebrate with their families with a fresh look.
Regardless of age, beauty is something every girl strives for. Today, the volunteers are presenting the seniors with new clothes.
This is a set. There are short sleeves and long sleeves. This one you can wear with the black pants. It looks elegant on you. Sister, you're not feeling well. We brought you vitamins, cookies, and this you can eat with liquids. That will be better for your digestion.
Other than clothes and food, the volunteers also brought emotional support to Miss Lee, who suffers from depression. The volunteers encourage her to be strong.
We will come again. Don't cry. We will come again. Don't make too much noise or your parents will be sad too.
Tzu Chi volunteers also arrived at the home of Miss Wu, who has a child with paralysis. Wu says her child's process of rehabilitation is really hard.
I'm very happy because once in a while, the volunteers will come visit me. It is a lot of pain for me to see my child suffering, but thankfully, I have all of you by my side.
As the Moon Festival approaches, the volunteers hope their visit to the care recipients brings love and blessings to each and every one of them.
Next, we meet a member of the Jiayi City Cerebral Palsy Association, Li Hongyu. His greatest wish is to become a pastry chef, and in order for him to obtain his certification, he had to spend many hours memorizing the steps to making the perfect pastry. Despite burning his hands over a long period of practicing bread making, he never thought of giving up and was eventually awarded with his certification.
Some are responsible for the dough, some are responsible for the fillings. What looks simple to you and me took hours of learning for these children who suffer from cerebral palsy.
I hope these children can manage on their own as their parents will grow old. They're very happy that the bread and pastries they make are being sold at the post office.
All these children want is a chance to prove themselves capable. Like Li Hongyu, his greatest wish was to become a pastry chef. He spent many hours repeating the same steps, but never thought of giving up.
It hurts a little when I burn my arms, but I still want to continue making pastries.
The burns on the left arm is just healing, though another fresh burn can be seen on his right arm. But Li is enjoying his work immensely. Like the pastries in the oven, his dream is finally complete.
To celebrate the coming Moon Festival on Sunday, over 25 actors from Tzu Chi's Performance Association arrived at the Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital to participate in a mid-autumn celebration for patients from the palliative ward who cannot return home. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.